10 seconds.
And really probably should have had 15, but you can only take 10.
Okay,
There's too many.
our house is too full.
I don't think they could
Sorry,
ever.
Jansen and Gentry, you're gone.
You have to sleep on the porch.
Absolutely adore your grandparents, and I make it known. I tell them, I said, you don't realize how lucky you boys are.
Oh,
Because, coming from a household where I only knew, I briefly knew 2 of my grandparents. At 7 years old, that's tough, especially coming down to, being part of a family that's pretty spread out. I mean, there's a lot of Collins in this area.
Ever just seeing like things fly across the floor, and she looked at me, she said, thank goodness. She said, I've been doing that. And I would say to be on the search committee, to be able to. I mean, it was an eye-opener being on the search committee, but it was just a blessing.
Every raffle we got to, I would say, is this a bad one?
I would say, no, this is a good one.
This is a good one.
And I went raffling a lot of times, and every time we go through raffles, I would pray, dear God, you know I'm only doing this because I love my husband. Please don't let me die doing this. So that's
Good evening, and welcome to another live version of Life Conversations here at Bethel. We're having a fabulous evening here tonight as we are getting ready to have a conversation with 2 faces that everybody knows but doesn't always see because they're always behind the desk. This is Cody Barrett and Grant Full with us here this evening. They're the technical crew behind Life Conversations, and they do such a great job. We wanted to have a conversation with them. And here's the rest of our technical crew. Cody with us here tonight too. Hi, Cody.
I thought you were messing with them, apparently.
Well, maybe so.
Yeah.
You know?
Because you said Cody and Grant, and where's Cody?
Sometimes we always ask that. Where's Cody at again?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Especially when the mics are acting up. So,
It's funny how it always ends up being my fault.
well, it is Cody's crew. That's
Right.
That's what we call it.
Cody's crew.
Cody's crew. I don't know. Yeah, sure. Cody's crew.
Yeah, sure,
We'll go with
whatever.
it. As long as he
That's
gets the
fine.
blame, we're fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
But we are certainly blessed here at Bethel, as we always say, with so many great people as part of our congregation and our conversations. And Cody and Grant do a fabulous job, not just with Life Conversations, but they are the technical crew behind the lighting, the sound for all of our services, and the video and the Facebook and the YouTube. They do a great job of pulling that together and making it available for you. So it's nice to have this conversation here tonight.
You'd think I'd be better prepared. I'm sitting here struggling with my microphone.
Well, you do pick on everybody else
I
about
know.
that.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
sure you got the green light on?
Yeah. This little thing right here in front of me tells me so.
Very good.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, some of the technology and stuff that we've incorporated here at Bethel has certainly been challenging, to say the least. Just me getting to be a part of it, and you all teaching me to help with the soundboard, the computer a little bit, has really been it's been enjoyable for me because I've learned a lot.
I don't know how much teaching we had to do, but
Well,
we definitely had to do a lot of work with Grant, but
well, yeah. Grant does a great job with the sound, and he shows me when I hiccup on that computer. He's always right there to help me fix it too. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
It's fun.
So, especially with Live Conversations, this is kind of a unique idea that we had early this year. It was really at the beginning of this year that we started these Live Conversations,
when
and being able to set them up.
I've always wanted to do a show like this, this type of a format, and
And COVID, hit, and what was it, March?
It was about March.
We shut down services, and then I'm like, we'd like to come up with something else, especially with Pastor Aaron and Jennifer moving to the area and becoming part of our church family. It was, in my mind, a way of keeping the church congregation close, but giving them an outlet also that they could meet individual members of the congregation virtually.
Sure.
Because at the time, there was a lot of unknowns, a lot of fear, especially in the beginning, on how things were going to be. But I've really enjoyed the production of it. I know, you guys don't see us, but me and Grant have had a fantastic time, with some of these interviews, and especially this season with adding in a lot of the live shows.
Sure.
It's I think it's really added a dynamic, and one of us needs to be monitoring Facebook. By the way, I've got YouTube up.
I'm used to just doing this.
Yeah,
so
so somebody,
I don't even know how to do that.
if somebody wants to get on their phone, because I've got YouTube up and we have 2 people watching and no comments yet.
Okay.
But I'm sure we've probably got some comments on Facebook by now.
Hi,
that
Mom.
Just hit me. Was it your mother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I tell everybody as we're sitting there doing these pre-conversations, pre-interviews, and even when we get into them a little bit, Cody, just ignore Cody and Grant in the back. And every once in a while, especially during those live conversations, you'll hear you speak up and say something, hey, there's a question up or something like that. So it's, but for the most part, and when we get into these conversations, even I forget you're back there. You do such a great job of keeping everything, working the way it's supposed to. I forget you guys are back there, and we get to the end, it's like, oh yeah, hey, Cody and Grace back here too.
Well, this new board, that's one of the things when we started, when the old analog board we had, we kept on losing channels, and Cody started doing a lot of research, and I don't know how many different YouTube videos he sent me of these different boards, and like, man, pick me up, we'll go look at it. And we end up going up to, I think it was someplace up in Clarksburg. Where we got the
it was
Yamaha.
What was the name of that music? It's still there. It's a music store in the mall.
Okay.
But they had it, but it looks and feels like the old soundboard that I was trained on and know how to use, but it's digital, and it's got all the gain meters, all this stuff on it, to where it really makes it easy. And the thing I love about it, and we love about it, I think once you get it right, you can save it.
Yeah.
To where we have a setup just for this show.
Sure.
We come in, turn it on, hit C, and then bang, everything's exactly where it was, where we had it set. Absolutely. So it makes it really neat. And we do the same thing for when we have a live worship service, when we have different singers, and we have them EQ'd for Susan and different folks, and it just makes it, once you get it right, you can keep it right.
Yeah, and that's except for tonight, because we're all up here.
Yeah,
there's nobody back there.
But that's it. That's the other part of the technology. Is this little iPad that you got here?
This is on autopilot.
Right? It is autopilot. Well, it's almost autopilot.
Yeah.
But this little iPad you got in front of you is controls to the soundboard.
Yeah. Well, the only thing we don't have is ears, and normally that's we're back there constantly adjusting, how loud or how soft the person's talking, during the whole show basically until closer to the end. Church services are the same. You're doing a lot of adjusting the EQ on the fly.
Absolutely.
Which was quick on the old analog boards, and now that we've got a whole screen, to move stuff around on, it's just as quick now. It's not as fast on the little screen back there on the board to adjust the EQ, but it's definitely easier with the iPad because you can visually you know,
Absolutely, and that's one of
see.
the really neat things about
Yeah.
that is the visualization of
Yeah.
that EQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely helped me understand how to adjust a graphic EQ. It definitely makes it easier, you know, because you can see what's going on, and Grant can sit there and tweak things, and then I can sit there and you know, on this, you know, I can be adjusting something different while Grant's, you know, working on another person altogether. So it definitely speeds up the process. But like right now, I'm freaking out a little bit because I don't know what we sound like.
It's true.
Yeah.
If you all out there in the live world out there can send us a message if we sound okay or if we
Yeah.
sound funky. If it's just Cody,
Yeah,
that's just Cody.
we'll leave it
Don't
alone.
worry about that.
We'll leave it alone.
Yeah. Cody sounds weird. Well, that's sorry, Bill. But
Yeah, yeah, you know. So if you guys make please comment if you can't hear one of us. I can turn us up or down, but I have no idea what it sounds like. So
yeah.
Yeah. But even that, you know, the technology that has allowed us to do this, we've talked through that several times about it's been really the COVID situation that we're in has forced us into that and forced us to grow into that. So I really feel like the ministry here at Bethel has grown. Not just this live conversation, but being able to do all of our live streaming through our services for Pastor Aaron.
Yeah.
It gives him the flexibility on the stuff that he needs to record.
Yeah.
And we went through such a period of growthing of that. Some of the recordings were up in his office, some of the recordings in different places, and we ended up being able to
doing a lot of it here.
get everything ready here and having those recordings mostly here, which is great. Which is one of the other things that we're going to take this technology and we're going to go out into the world with it.
Oh, I'm super excited about that.
We are excited, and
Yeah.
you know, for the people that are watching and that have watched the live conversations, we're going to take it out into the world. And one of the things we want to do with this, and we've always wanted to do even from the very beginning, was use this to help people here in the congregation get to know people that are part of our congregation that are more shut in and are not able to get out. So we're going to, that just as a preview, we're going to be doing that this season real soon.
Yeah.
So stay
Real
tuned
soon.
for that. I think it'll be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it
Yes.
because I think it really opens up a whole nother avenue, another door of where we can take this.
And they're all used to seeing you being the interviewer.
Yes.
And there might be a surprise interviewer coming in the works for at least one individual. I don't know if it'll go anything past that. It's kind of it's trial by fire, you know.
Trial by fire.
Yeah. If it doesn't work out, we'll probably never use him again.
Yeah.
But
That-
you know,
that-
we're going to let him have his shot.
That guy's questionable. I mean,
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of this whole thing has been trial by fire, though,
Yeah.
right?
But no, I that part I'm really excited about because I've always, I always kind of a heart for the shut-ins.
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's so easy for them to get lost.
It is.
And-
It is. You know, and I really think that the technology that we've
They've forgotten
not just
about.
for this, but for the services, have allowed those people to really interact and feel like they're still a part of the congregation.
Which
because
they very are.
Absolutely are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this has given us another avenue to minister. And, and I think the same thing with all that stuff back there, I look at it as this is my ministry. This is me giving of volunteering and giving of my time. And the same thing for you guys, giving of our time to do what we do. And it's a complete, we wouldn't do it if we didn't love it.
Right.
We didn't enjoy it.
Sure.
And, and I do, I come in, every Sunday. Sometimes it's a little bit later than what I wish it was.
No,
But,
Always earlier than me, though.
yes. But I do. I approach it as a ministry, and wanting it to be the absolute best. We were talking the other night, Susan and I, about when we had full services. Just sitting down the pew, and I'd be texting you or Grant, and she's like, he's got such a problem letting go. And I'm like, no, it's not so much the letting go part as it is, in the back of my mind, I want it to be perfect sounding, because I know the less people look back there, the more they look up here.
Absolutely.
And, to have people constantly looking to the side at us takes away from the message.
Sure.
And I think the best compliment that we can get as sound techs and engineers is the people say nothing.
Right.
That they don't even notice us.
I don't even
That-
know,
that
they didn't
we're
even know that
invisible.
there was anything going on to
Right.
make the service happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's what I strive for. I think we've done a great job of that this year, in spite of all the adversity.
Sure.
Now, I would like to say before I forget, don't know who it was, but what you're seeing us through tonight was a donation at the beginning of COVID. This is not a cheap camera by any stretch of the imagination.
It was on our wish list.
It was on our wish list.
Big wish list, yeah.
But it is a fantastic, super clear camera, that we can do lots of things with. But if you've noticed, if you look back at recordings from January and February until close to the end of March,
Because the live video has ended.
Technology problems up here with our
yeah,
phones.
I don't know. Well, my phone's still going. It says 0 people. Uh-oh. They might have lost us.
They might have lost us. I don't know.
I'll go back and check. But anyway, keep talking about the
Cody's
camera.
going to go check.
Keep talking about the camera. But anyway, yeah.
It's amazing how God works, right?
Yeah.
It's certainly something was on our wish list of saying, hey, this would be really cool to have. We've had a couple cameras and been able to use them, but being able to mount this one that we have here and use it like we do, it's not just being able to view straight forward, but it has the tilt, it's got the zoom, it's a really good picture. And when we were forced into this technology growth, or the growth of this ministry, or the growth of Bethel's ministry, God provided.
Yes, it was really neat. They asked Cody what it is we needed, that we're wanted, basically.
That's what happens when you have a crappy phone, Grant.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Good.
It's
Yeah, we're still on. Thanks, honey.
yeah, it's green lights, all green lights.
Okay.
So as you can tell, we truly are we're the only 3 here.
Yeah.
And it's really neat that we're able to do this. We thought all 3 of us walked in tonight thinking, man, why can't we have a conversation like this?
Right.
And again, God has provided for that.
I'm going to switch over to Facebook on my phone since apparently Grant's not able to handle it.
Yeah.
So we've talked through the tech. Let's talk about what else you guys do, because this is not the only thing that you guys do. And I know that people here at the congregation knows it, but maybe not everybody knows what else you do. One of the things that I know both of you do together is our youth ministry. Tell me about tell us about how the youth ministry is going and what kind of changes you've seen with it.
Well, it's we're going through a growth period.
Sure.
We have a handful of kids show up every Wednesday, but they've been showing up every Wednesday. Good group, young group of kids, mainly middle schoolers, and some underclassmen in high school. But it's fun, and we really been trying this over the past year, really trying to focus really on the message of the gospel. Make sure we really hammer that home, and they have a really good pure understanding of that.
Got to build that foundation.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we started this because, 2 reasons. One, because we have mainly unchurched kids.
Yes.
With the exception of 2, sometimes 3 if Noah comes. But the gospel isn't just for baby Christians, and I think even somebody that's been saved for several years now, it's still a refreshing and an invigorating thing, to continually go over the stories of the gospel, and continually dwell on that. Mm-hmm. So, one of my favorite preachers to listen to is Paul Washer, and
sorry, Pastor Aaron.
Yeah. Sorry, Aaron. He knows this. We've had this discussion.
Okay, I got you.
We've had this discussion. He would rather listen to MacArthur than himself. So, and that's his kind of whole philosophy of ministry is, regardless of the age, and when I say age, the spiritual age, of the congregation or not, you're never going to go wrong preaching the gospel.
Absolutely not.
And I take for granted so many of these Bible stories that I grew up hearing, but a lot of these kids have never heard them. Sure. It's the first time they've heard them. Sure. The stuff that here at church we're teaching to 1s and 2s and 3s and 4-year-olds, our teenagers have never heard.
Yeah,
and
absolutely there are. Yes.
Unfortunately, we've come into a generation that so many kids, have never heard any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't assume that these kids know the difference between Moses and Noah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You cannot make that assumption. You can't make that assumption that it's easy when your kids grow up in this church.
Yeah.
Right. They get that foundational knowledge built into them, but. I said you get most of the kids that you look at the population. Most people are not going to a church every Sunday, and even if they are, not all churches are really putting that educational foundation with the kids. So we have a lot of our kids, they don't have that. So it's really been a burden upon my heart over the years. To really, it speaks to me that we need to make sure we have that, because one of the things we've had some kids graduate and go on, but I would pick them up and drive them to and from here, and we'd have conversations back and forth, and sometimes I realize they really don't know exactly what it was or who it was we were talking about in that Wednesday lesson.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I was like, we got to simplify. Don't take it back to elementary school level, but okay, this is who this person, this is who this is why it's important, but always tie it back to the gospel.
Yeah.
This is how this is how Moses relates, how it ties into Christ, and it always try to end each Wednesday. This is why it's important. This is why it ties in, and so it's really been something I think Cody and I have been talking about it for the past couple years, and then really the past year we've tried to focus more on that.
Well, and we kind of got frustrated with the curriculum that we were using because it just seemed to be so watered down for one. Okay. It really lacked substance. It was a lot of, to me, it seemed it was a lot of legalism. It was a lot of do these things, but it really lacked a lot of trying to teach the kids from God's Word. Okay. So we kind of basically threw that stuff in the wastebasket and opened the Bible and just literally use the Bible for the first several months as the curriculum. Sure. Went through what we did. We started with Genesis. We went back to Genesis and started. What are you doing on that microphone?
I just keep talking. You're
good.
Quit
Good.
focusing on me.
Yeah. This is what I deal with. But anyway, so we started with Genesis, and then we went through the events in Genesis, and then we did Heroes of the Faith. Yes. So we went through basically the highlights of the major characters in the Old Testament and the major characters in the New Testament, and had and I thought it went very well. And we had different teachers come in and do each individual thing. Like we had Tim McCartney one night. We had Ryan Willis. Did he do Moses or Noah? I can't remember.
I think he did Moses.
Yeah. I did one. I don't remember what it was. Is that bad? That's bad.
Yeah.
It was last year.
Yeah.
It was last year, but
Pre-COVID, so.
yeah, it was pre-COVID. It was pre-COVID. I don't remember. For some reason, I was thinking I didn't do Samson. Who did Samson?
Jordan
Did. That's right.
Jordan Swigert.
And then Russ Collins taught one for us, and Dave Willis took a Wednesday. We had, then Jim Hammond did one.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Caton did one. I remember now. I don't remember who you did. You don't remember either, do you? All right, so I don't feel as bad. But
So that's a great way.
David, that's right. You did do David.
That's a great way to involve the congregation.
Right.
So I mean, it's not just about youth leaders interacting with the youth.
Yeah.
Because you can get segregated that way.
Yeah.
But when you involve the congregation, and I think that's one of the really neat things about Bethel here, is that the congregation here, you all, are so involved in not just, showing up for worship, but you're so involved in the ministry that we have here. And that is truly a blessing. And it's been great to be able to talk to all the different people and you guys and say, hey, what else is going on with your life? And, oh, that's also what you're doing. And, oh, I didn't realize you were over here helping with this also. And it really makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that interaction for sure. So cool. I'm glad, I helped with the youth a little bit back when in my a little bit younger days. I won't say it's a long ways back, but a little ways.
A little bit younger days?
Yeah, a little bit younger days. So I know that our youth program is continuing. And
what's your definition of a little bit?
well, let's just focus on.
Easy, Cody.
Let's just get past
I was
that
just
a little
wondering.
bit,
You're not as far back as you think you are, buddy.
I was just wondering.
all the time.
Yeah. I'm just looking for clarification.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. No worries.
The youth program is one of the ministries that you guys are involved in. Grant, I know there's another ministry that you've really taken on and taken ownership of, and that's the Latrobe Street Mission Ministry, and that is so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, honestly, I could take frankly zero credit for that. We as a church do feed at the Latrobe Street Mission the first Monday of every month. We provide food. Prior to the COVID, we'd go in, we'd actually give devotions and things like that. Since COVID started, we've basically been delivering food, making sure they have that on the first Monday of the month. And really, all credit goes to my wife when it comes to that stuff. We talk about, hey, it's coming up this Monday, and we're feeding 50 people, all right. And I got a little text group, hey guys, here's what we're going to be serving or whatnot. But Christy, she goes and does the shopping, prepares the food, gets the stuff. It's all her. Quite frankly, I'm a little bit of it, and then we got some other members of our congregation that are very faithful. Rick and Carolyn Keller, Sam and Grace Arnold. We got a number of folks. Gail Perkins that pitch in every month to contribute some food there, or when we're serving to serve, and it's really fun to see that all come together. That's the Lord's blessed me through that a lot of times.
Sure.
There's been nights we've been serving there that I'm all of a sudden it's flu season or whatnot, and I got people dropping off, weather's getting bad. I'm starting to sweat going, I'm not going to have enough food for these people. And there's been more, it doesn't happen all the time because I'm an over-planner, but there's been times all of a sudden
That's true.
extra people start showing up at the mission, and we've actually handed out our last sandwich or our last pizza, but the Lord's always provided. And and there's been times where I get in a funky mood for Who knows? Because I'm Grant. It happens. And
Christy could probably tell us.
yeah, Christy could get up here, talk for 2 hours about what, my
No, I
weird
meant
things.
why you're in that mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or probably not. Sometimes it's just the way it is. But, you can go there and you see a family that's going through some hard times. And, I would look at my son and he's perfectly healthy. I got my wife. I got a car to drive home to. I flip on the lights and they work. My fridge is full. House is warm. And I'm like, I have no complaints.
Right.
None.
Sure.
Just really, I've been blessed. It's been more therapy for me than it's been a service. I don't feel like I should take any credit for that at all. It's like we've got too many people that's pitched in to do well. We got people contribute money every month to help pay for stuff.
Somebody donated a whole bunch of pork butts one time,
Yeah,
and you smoked them.
yeah.
How many was that?
I don't know. It's one they have these freezers. I opened up the Christy was going through and was opened up the freezer and we seen all these pork butts frozen in the freezer. And I was talking to the lady who coordinates their food, and Christy asked her something. Hey, what are you doing with these things? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, would you mind if I picked them up and fixed them for you? She's like, nope. And I don't know. I think that was sometime last summer we ended up doing that. So, I got to play with my smokers, and
I helped out that night. You had a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, they liked it. So it's been fun. It's been fun.
I've always wanted to be part of that and help every once in a while when I can. And I've done it a few times. So knowing that service is there and you guys are out there, it really is. It's really cool to be ministered to by being able to serve others.
Yeah.
And it really can absolutely change your perspective.
Yep.
It sure does.
Absolutely. It's given more to me than I've ever given it to it, and so it's been a blessing. I'll say that.
It's amazing how God works through that.
Yes.
Cody, another ministry that I know that you're involved in, and I don't know, some people call it a ministry, but I think it is, and I know that the church feels it is our softball league.
Oh.
Yeah,
I was going to say, what other ministry am I part of?
Well, yeah.
It's entertaining.
I was waiting to hear what he said.
There is another one out
I
there.
was waiting to hear what he said there.
Yeah, the softball league, which is really cool.
Yeah. No, and I don't know if you call it so much as a ministry, because it is a church softball league. So it's, you have some unsaved people that play. You have some unchurched people that play. And that's kind of, I've always tried to, if you invite, a friend, to come, basically, I mean, it's, to be part of the team. I've always kind of looked at it as, it can be a ministry.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it's, in my mind, I've never really, I guess, thought of it that way. It's just,
So a ministry doesn't have to be outside the church. A ministering just
Right.
to the congregation,
Right.
is absolutely ministry. And sometimes getting out and just getting dirty and having fun is the best kind of ministry there is. For
well,
people.
and yeah, I understand, relationships
Sure.
are just as
Absolutely.
important. It's not just us either. It is us with Tri-City Baptist. And we've been 5 or 6 years now. 6 years. We've been, it's been a joint effort
Okay.
between the two churches. And I don't think a lot of people probably don't know that. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun. And you get to know people, from a different church. We've planned, it's like Grace Gospel. We've planned youth events with them, and that's opened doors for other things, other bigger forms of ministry that takes
Sure.
more than just one congregation.
Absolutely.
with knowing people from, getting to know people from other churches is, how originally we started doing the Sportsman Expo.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes, it is.
was just through those contacts.
Yes.
That we made through softball and through Kevin's. I don't know if they did lunch or breakfast or whatever, but they had several pastors that he got together with in the area.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, that was, I've always just looked at, softball as, if you have somebody that is never going to step foot in the church building, or they say they're never going to step foot in the church building, it's kind of an option. It's kind of an option to get them around other Christians and let them see that their preconceptions are probably not correct. But it is. I mean, it's fellowship too. It's getting together with other believers and being part of something that's not me oriented.
Sure.
So much of the society has become very me oriented.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a benefit, I guess, of being part of a team, is that especially softball, especially slow pitch softball, very much promotes the team.
The team.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So how about we flip the script?
Flip the script.
Yeah. What about Darren? You've been up here. You've been doing this ministry for almost a year now.
Yeah.
7 months, yeah.
Yeah, almost a year now.
Yeah. And it's been fabulous. I mean, you talk about ministry where you are ministered to more than the service that you're trying to give. It's been absolutely, truly a pleasure. From just the relationship that we have built, us three have built, and doing that has really cool. And even in a place where there's quite a bit of age difference between us, but I've always felt like we're included, and it's cool. It's really neat for me to be able to do that, and I have learned a lot from both of you for the technology stuff. I enjoy that. I enjoy the soundboard. I enjoy the computer, and I've really learned a lot, and it's been a lot of fun. But the live conversations, when we started this, I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I didn't know what I was going to do when I first started up here. There's even nights like tonight we weren't sure how this was going to go when we got here.
This was literally no prep.
Yeah. So.
And we didn't even originally intend for you to be the
absolutely not
the host.
The host.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the word. The host. That was a last minute decision as well.
So. But I have learned so much about people, and enjoyed it, and just I've been very blessed.
Yeah.
Not with just the conversations that recorded and the conversations you see. We do those pre-talks sometimes just to get people comfortable, get me comfortable with knowing people a little bit. And man, oh man, it's like, wow, there's so much about other people's lives that I have no idea. And
that's semi-interesting.
Semi-interesting.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of it is absolutely fascinating.
It's fun to hear how the Lord's worked in people's lives, and how they've brought people together here, and how He's brought them here to Bethel, and just watch that. Now Darren, you did a good job of bringing that, helping them bring that out.
Yeah.
It's fun to see.
Well, Grant and I have said since the week 2, I think, week 2 of doing these, in season 1, that this is your calling. I mean, this is very. I remember sitting back there and looking at Grant and saying, "This is what Darren's supposed to do." I mean, it seems like from day one, it just felt so natural for you to sit up here and to be the facilitator, because it really is less asking of questions and more of just having a conversation.
And that's always what it's about. It's always
Yeah.
it's been funny for me, especially the first half a dozen or so interviews or conversations that we had. Somebody would walk in and say, "Okay, ask me anything you want."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, here's the questions I'm going to ask you," and it's a blank sheet of paper.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to talk about, and even when would do those pre-conversations, I would think, well, this is where this conversation is going to go, and God takes it somewhere completely different.
Yeah.
And it is, to me, that is just, I get such a blessing, and I feel the Spirit.
Yeah.
You know that conversation was meant for somebody.
Yeah.
And I absolutely believe that
We said
conversation
that
was
about
meant for somebody.
Tim McCartney's.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this is kind of some behind the scenes stuff. This season has been rough. This has been a difficult season to get done.
Well, tonight,
Yes.
literally,
Yeah,
like you said, we walked in,
Yeah.
we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
Here we are.
But we knew that we were going to do one.
Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, and it's been, just to give, and we'll get to your questions.
There's questions.
Oh, there is.
What was the question?
There is
Go ahead.
questions.
Okay.
There is questions. But it really has been a trying season 2,
It has.
And it's funny because it feels like season 1 at this point was so long ago, but it was really just several months back. We only took a month and a half off.
Yeah.
But it's been trying. We've had last minute cancellations.
Sure.
We've had people that we really wanted to talk with, to have a conversation with, that just didn't feel motivated to do so, and that's understandable. We don't want anybody to feel like we're pushing them to do so.
Absolutely not.
And then we've had some last minute, I'll be there, and like Tim McCartney, for example, was just fantastic. And then we had, and I'm sorry to all the rest of the guests, but I'm going to say something. My favorite
Okay.
episode so far, it still didn't get as many views as Jennifer, but my favorite was the Smith sisters.
Oh,
that was great.
That
yeah.
was something that, from a Bethel, pure Bethel history standpoint,
Sure.
I really wanted to do, and just the chemistry of those three, even growing up into this day, they have such a great family. One of the earliest families next to Mr. Lauer's, Debbie's dad.
Yeah.
I just found this out the other day. He actually is the oldest living member in the congregation.
Oh, wow.
Not necessarily age-wise, but he's been here the longest.
Oh,
I did not know that
Yeah.
either.
Yeah. He was here before Daryl and Geraldine were here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the original building.
Yeah.
And I like that. So I'm a history buff, and about anything. I love, like, we've been teaching the youth kids here the past couple of weeks
Right.
about church history,
Sure.
especially with, and I think it's something that even me and the rest of the congregation, it's a good thing to learn, to understand where you've came from. Names like William Tyndale, and everybody's heard of Martin Luther, but do you know what day it was that Martin Luther nailed his 98 theses to 95 theses to the church door?
Yeah.
October 31st.
October 30th. Oh,
October
I have heard
31st.
that. I have heard that, yes.
October 31st is Reformation Day,
Okay.
and that's something that Saturday
Yes.
we will be handing
Celebrating.
Celebrating, yeah. We'll be
Celebrating.
handing out candy over here on the corner of the parking lot to the
Yep.
kids that are out trick-or-treating, and saying Happy Reformation Day,
Yeah.
not Happy Halloween, because it is, and it I think I don't know if that's how it originated, but it's
but
very much
But our youth kids
Reminding
Wednesday night,
them.
we packaged up 200 bags
Yeah,
of candy, tracts, a good seed book, and
Very cool.
and Tim, thank you for the Bibles.
Yes.
Gideon's Bible.
Yes.
So the
Hey.
kids in the neighborhood will all be getting that information. So, they'll be getting some candy along with the Word of God and seeing a couple fat guys dressed up as apostles.
Well, you'll be an apostle. I'm going to be Martin Luther.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pastor Aaron will be he's not an apostle. He's going to be John the Baptist.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But something crazy. So we filled all those bags.
Yeah.
This is how my brain works. Sorry, we're kind of all over the place tonight.
Don't forget the question.
We're getting to the question. We used like around 120-ish Bibles.
Uh-huh.
Guess how many Bibles Tim brought?
80.
88.
88.
Almost the exact
Number we needed. That's cool.
number we needed. We'll probably have maybe one or two extras.
That's awesome.
And he had no idea how many we needed. He just said that he would get us some and bring them. There was 88 Bibles in that box when I came in here tonight.
That's awesome.
It's funny. You think, that's kind of a neat coincidence.
Yeah.
But it's not.
No.
Truly, it's not.
No.
There's so many things that happen, not just here at Bethel, but in our lives in general, and in your lives too, where God is working. And if we listen and we see, we can see God working in our lives. And that is such a good thing to have, that if you really pay attention, you know how good our Father is to us. So, questions? Questions?
There's two there at the bottom.
Questions here at the bottom. Okay, first question. What were your ages when
No, one above that.
what has been
There
the
you
most surprising thing that happened at Latrobe Street Mission?
So it would be to Grant.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one.
Oh, well, wasn't prepared for that one. But honestly,
You should
Well-
have your phone in front of you.
the most surprising thing,
Should've
honestly,
read it.
I'll quit talking.
it's the, like I said, there's been at least 2 to 3 different times, like I said, where I've handed out the last piece of food.
Exact.
Yes.
Huh.
Exact. I mean, I'm talking the last done. And, and it's always been on those days where sometimes I'm like, Lord, this is, whatever. You have those days.
Worried that there's going to be enough.
Not going to be enough, or I'm worried about something else. And, the Lord just provides. Those are awesome moments. There was an African American family that I'll never forget. They were there 2 months, maybe 3. A father, a mother, and I believe they had 3 kids.
Oh, wow.
And those kids would come out to greet us at the van, help us carry stuff in, come up and ask if they could help serve.
Oh, wow.
And, it's one of those, I sat down and talked to that guy, and I said, buddy, brother, I said, I know he's a Christian. You can just tell. And talking to him, he was. And I said, I don't know why you're here. I don't know what put you here. I said, but your testimony, these people are watching you. I said, and also me just watching you, is powerful. I said, you can just see the love that your children have for you. And that man was walking his faith. I mean, even in that, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine the stuff that he was going through to have his family there, because you're not with your the kids sleep in the women's dorms, and he had to sleep away from his family, and that would drive me insane.
Sure.
Literally insane. I couldn't take that, and just watching the strength of that man, the Christ's strength through him, was really inspiring and ministered to me very deeply. I'd say that was it. I'll never forget his face. That's been probably 3 years ago.
Have you
4
seen
years
him again
ago.
since then?
Praise the Lord, no.
Well, I meant in the community.
I have not. But I was happy that they've gone on, but he was there for a short period of time, and
Yeah.
it was awesome. It was awesome.
God ministers everywhere,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
blesses everywhere,
Yep.
and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that is strength. That is faith in action.
Yep.
Of that man having that faith and being able to continue to show that and minister to others
Yep.
while he and his family were in that situation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. I truly believe. I remember telling him, I was like, that's. I don't know why the Lord's putting you through this. I said, but He's going to work great things because of it.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, it really hammered home, ministered to me a lot. And if nothing else, and so it was amazing to watch. It's just really amazing to watch the Lord work.
Yes, it is.
Through there. It really is.
Everything. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That was cool. Next question.
Grant's mother's got another question for us.
What were your ages when each of you surrendered to Christ, and what helped you make that choice?
I'll let you go first. I like to talk.
It was the summer of 2003. The Lord really started ministering to me a lot. I was working in Athens, living here, working in Athens. So you had that nice long, hour-long drive just before the bridge was done, and really along during that whole summer, I think the Lord was kind of working on me, tugging on me, and ultimately it came to be Labor Day. Well, actually, and I should say I have to give credit to my mother. Even growing up, we were in and out of church. Knew some of the Bible, not a lot, quite frankly.
You're going to catch flack for that.
I didn't. And
No, I meant just for forgetting to give her credit.
but and I remember I was in college, and she'd always tell me, "I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you." I'm like, "Whatever, Mom." Okay. All right. What? Hey, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Leave me be. Let me go. But anyway, summer of 2003, and then up to Labor Day, I ended up having just full blown anxiety attack. Thought I was going to die. I mean, I was like, it was whatever. And Lord just really got a hold of me. And, I gave my life to the Lord, and I was dating Christy at the time. And, I actually told her, I said, I need to go to church. I went to the Christian bookstore and got me a New King James Bible and started reading it, and I told her, yep, I need to go to church. She's like, well, my family goes to Bethel. I'm like, all right, whatever. Yeah, I didn't care. I just wanted to go to a church.
Yeah.
And, I started coming here, and praise the Lord, I did. I got, really lucky. Because honestly, I had no idea where to go. Didn't care where I was going to go. I needed to go. And I just was really reading my Bible every night for a long time, and started going to church here and really learning about the Word. And, I just haven't looked back since. And honestly, I'll give a lot of credit to Kevin Brocious. He asked me to, help out with the youth group. I don't know how long I can't even tell you how long that's been now. 6 years maybe? I don't know.
It was more than that, because you were doing it before I joined.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for 6.
So, and as a result of, how it is when you have to teach something, you're forced to
grow.
Grow
and learn. Yeah.
Forced to study it.
Forced to study it. And God bless Kevin. I told him, I said, I said, whoa, man. I said, I don't know about this teaching stuff. He said, I'll take your teach. I just need you to be there to kind of basically help mentor and grow and be for that. I said, okay. So he kind of gave me that pat on the back reassurance. You're fine. You can do this type of thing. And it's helped me grow in that regard. But it's really is in that, it's my mom's prayer. I was exposed to the Word growing up in and out of church, through school. But as that summer of '03, really, the Lord just smacked me around. He has to do big things through me sometimes to get me to wake up, and unfortunately, it took something for me to wake up. But I'm glad He did.
Me too.
And it's been a fun and sometimes not so fun journey.
So how old were you in 2003? Because that was the original question. I realized how you were dodging that.
Oh, how old was I?
Well, yeah, I guess it was part of the original.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So I've been in, 1975, right? So 28?
You don't know how old you are
Yeah,
right
28.
now to count backwards?
28. How's 28?
All right, 28.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cody?
Well, and I was listening to Grant. As I was listening to Grant, I was trying to sit here and think. And I mean, I was raised in this church, obviously. And I had a profession of faith when I was a little kid, I thought, but I don't. In my heart, I don't feel like I was ever really saved. It wasn't until 2000. I was sitting here adding it up in my head. It was 2008. It would have been almost Thanksgiving time, so in November of 2008, I think, was the first time in my life that I ever fully surrendered, and I feel like that's my date that I go back to. That's when I feel like I was truly became part of God's family, that I was truly saved. So it would have been 20.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated high school in 2006. I was 18, so 20.
Okay.
But, and yeah, that was a long story and a series of unfortunate events and bad decisions and realities, and realizing that I wasn't a kid anymore, and that life was real and had consequences, and woke me up. And I was, and still am, a stubborn individual, and God had to, rock me to my core to get a hold of me and to get me to realize what was going on. And I think not everyone goes through that, but I think a lot of us, it takes a life-altering event to get us to realize, what God's trying to do with us. And it's funny. It's almost, and I always think of the analogy of a lifeguard. You can't save somebody until they let you save them. Because if they're trying to swim on their own and struggling, it'll actually bring the person that's trying to save them down. Yeah. And I think it's there's no limit to how far God will go to get us to wake up. He'll strip you down to your absolute core, take everything away from you till you're left sitting in a room with nothing but the clothes on your back to get you to wake up.
Sure.
And in hindsight, that's love too.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
That is shows the extent, that He's willing to go through. Shows the great mercy and the love that He has for us, and I think that that's something that people overlook, especially sometimes Christians that become Christians at a young age can sometimes hold those kind of things for granted. And I think everybody has a different testimony for that reason, that because of your life experiences, it allows you to have different perspectives and to reach to people that other people wouldn't be able to reach. To allow you to understand people, and honestly, I mean, I've found my life experiences have allowed me to connect with people even at work that I wouldn't have otherwise been able to connect with.
Absolutely.
And while and in the rough times, you're sitting there going through it, and you're like, why me?
Well, this stinks.
Yeah. And then, but in hindsight, God uses all things for His glory, and you see, the good that can come of it. A lot of times God tests us, and He doesn't tell you why. He never told Job why. That was my question years ago. Is did God ever tell Job why He put him through all those things? And the Bible doesn't say. So He might have, but the Bible doesn't say. And I still had it way better than he did, I feel.
A little bit.
Yeah. God was easier on me than He was on him.
It's interesting that you mentioned those Christians that were saved at a young age. I've often struggled with my own testimony because I have been blessed beyond measure to have grown up in a family that has always emphasized God.
Yeah.
And going to church and Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday evening, all the hot dog roasts and all the hay rides and just being a real strong involved in whatever the church was doing. And I've always had that, and I as a Christian, I gave my life to the Lord at a very young age. I think it was around 10 to 12. I've just always known and known God and known who He is, but with that same thing, I've struggled over the years of things that I probably shouldn't have been involved in, and God protected me from that. Whether I was in it or kept me from it, type of thing, protected me from it. And it's been amazing to look back and think, wow, God, He really kept me from it, no matter how hard I tried to move towards it.
Right.
It was always that protection there. And it's the ups and downs and the struggles that you've gone through. Again, why am I going through this? Why is it so hard? And you can see God working, whether it's this conversation or whether you're at in your life, you can see God working. You don't always see it all the time.
Yeah.
And there are some questions that I've got. I don't understand why I was in that situation.
Yeah.
But one day we will.
Yep.
One day I'll know, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And I find comfort in that. That someday I'll know, because all questions will be answered.
Yeah.
It'll be done. So.
Yeah, that's when someday you'll know, but it won't matter any longer.
Yeah, exactly. I'll know and think, okay, I'm here to praise God.
Yeah.
Cool.
And this is fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. And one thing that, we're sitting here and we're basically kind of talking about our testimonies, but I think it's important as a church congregation to continually discuss the things that are, that are your testimony, that make up your testimony amongst other members of the church, because I think it keeps you humble, and I think it keeps them from, and me included, from lifting anybody up. above who they are, you know. And it humanizes everybody, and it helps, you know, like, so we so easily see a pastor and put him up on this pedestal, and that gives unrealistic expectations, and expectations that that most of those men will never be able to live up to. And that's, you know, we did a study on the disciples.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I took from that, was coming to the realization that yes, they were side by side with Jesus during his 30 years of ministry, or 30 years not 30 years of ministry. 3 years of ministry. Thank you. Okay.
Cody's not so good at math.
Yeah. Anyway, but you have a tendency to raise those men up because they are heroes of the faith, because they were such great men as we see them, but they didn't see themselves as that. I mean, when you sit down, and during that study, it took one individual, one member of the 12 disciples, and kind of broke down their perspective, where they came from, who they were as a person, and it really, and their testimony basically, and it really helped you understand, hey, I'm just like him. You know, they're just like me. You know, they struggled with the same things that we struggled with. They had the same types of personalities that many of the congregation have, and yet Jesus counted them as his 12. You know, because, you know, you sit there and you think, well, you know, I would never be able to be one of those men. And then but when you actually sit down and you study who they were and what they were, more importantly, what they were,
Exactly.
you realize that's us.
I think it
We're
was
no different than they are.
12 Ordinary Men.
Yeah, 12 Ordinary Men was
I think it's MacArthur.
Yeah, I think it was a MacArthur book.
It was good.
And but it was. I mean, it really helped you to humanize, and to not raise them up, you know, to make them seem like they're holier than you are and unattainable. And I've always tried to take that principle and apply it towards, you know, anybody in church leadership.
Absolutely.
To understand, you know, that, hey, they struggle just like we do. And we need to remember that and minister to that, you know, to
Minister to them, pray for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because, you know, pastors are held by God to a higher accountability.
Yes.
And that is a true calling, because it is a true struggle a large part of that time.
Yeah.
So,
you know, they struggle with life and
just
sin
like we do.
just like the
Just
rest of
like
us.
we do.
They need encouragement just like the rest of us.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, think about how crazy would you be to have, you know, 5 going on 6 kids, you know?
It's got 4 going on 5.
4 going on 5.
Is it?
Yeah. Not so good at math.
I'm not so good at math tonight.
Jennifer's sitting there going, no, they're not going to be new 6.
There was
That's exactly right.
there was just coffee in these cups, I swear.
We've heard that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's and I think it's kind of, and what also helps with that is getting to know them on a personal level.
Sure.
You know, a lot of people in bigger congregations don't really get to know their pastor on a personal level.
Yep.
And I love, you know, and we used to be a lot bigger, but we were never super big. But I feel like even when Randy was here, that everybody knew him on a personal level.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, as small as we are now, I think that it really does enable you, especially with Aaron and Jennifer just coming in this year, to really get to know them on a personal level. And I feel blessed that the 3 of us, you know, we really got to know them before anybody else did.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were here when we weren't having services,
Absolutely.
and we got to hear, you know, or learn, I guess, not hear, but learn, you know, who they were
Absolutely.
first.
Yeah.
And, you know, hear about his amazing sermons. It's an inside joke for those listening at home.
Love you, Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron will understand.
Sermon's
Gentlemen,
awesome.
thank you very much. And as always, God amazes me through these conversations. Again, we didn't know what we were going to do tonight, but God did, and He worked it out. And I hope that in some way it's been a blessing to you. And Cody, as you were saying, it's not just about praying for our pastor, but as we learn about each other and draw closer to each other as a congregation, pray for each other.
Amen.
Pray for each other. Pray for us. We love y'all. It's been a great time. As always, Cody's going to do the technical part and go get ready to turn off. And as always, you are continuing in your life and in your conversation with God, we would love to hear about it. Take care.